Beautiful people, welcome back to another episode of Who Can Relate. If you are new here, what took you so long? But I'm glad you're here. Better late than never. Never late is better. What are you going to do? My name is Justin Davis, aka JD. This show is all about people discovering their higher selves through adversity, vulnerability, with a big underline under that word, and self-love because we need more of it. All right, today's episode, this is why you clicked it. Shay is going to give her experience of her ayahuasca ceremony in detail. I know a lot of you requested that. We delivered, and it's going to be a good one. All right, per usual, we have a quote of the day, and we're going to set some intentions for the episode. Let's go with intentions first. My intentions from this episode is to really just allow whoever is still on the fence about doing an ayahuasca ceremony to hopefully encourage you, take this as a sign, this is your cue to go ahead and pursue it. Highly recommend it, and it really was something that Shay and I will never forget. It was such an incredible experience, and so again, my intention is just to, whoever's on the border, just to push you over that edge and really go for it. Okay, quote of the day. I actually don't have a quote of the day, but I just want to talk to you guys for a second. So the theme of what I'm going to talk about right now is, when was the last time you did something that you were extremely uncomfortable in doing? When was the last time you were really scared to do something? When was the last time you were in the middle of something and you tried to do everything you could to get out of it, and either you did or you stuck it out and you pushed through? This came to my mind today. I was doing my hot yoga practice, 118 degrees Fahrenheit for 90 minutes, and it is by far the most challenging hot yoga class out there. And this is just not me talking. This is my beloved instructor also saying as well, confirming. And the main reason why I do this class is because it's the one thing in my life that I still have that I find extremely challenging. I have a pretty high tolerance for pain. I've been through a lot, and this is just something that I really can't ever, I don't want to say master or conquer, but I can't get comfortable doing. So it continues to push me, which I know I'm growing, and it's really testing that control bone in my body that I've often talked about on here. So that's why I do my hot yoga practice. I do a couple other things too that take me out of my comfort zone. But, again, I was going through it today and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to open up the show with, when was the last time you did something where you were extremely uncomfortable, especially knowing that it would be good for you if you could just see it through. So for whatever that's worth, if someone's out there listening, watching, and just thinking, damn, JD's preaching to the choir. I literally just thought that today or last week or last month, whatever it is. This is your sign. This is your cue to continue to push your boundaries, to be uncomfortable. They say when you are doing any type of physical activity and you feel like quitting, so let's go with the example of running. If you're not much of a runner, half a mile in, if you can even make it that far, maybe you made it to a mile, you're like, I'm done with this. I can't do it. This hurts, this hurts, this hurts. I'm out. They say that that's actually only 40% that you've expended on what you really have in you, the full 100%. So tap back into the rest of the 60 and just push through. So again, whatever you guys are going through, I just hope this resonates. I hope you can relate to it. And again, I hope this is your sign to really push through and just see what it could look like if you stuck it out. What outcome could come of this? And again, I'm guessing it would be a good thing. And if it's not a good thing, well, let's talk about it. I would love to hear from each and every one of you. So that's your quote of the day / little sermon of the day. When was the last time you were extremely uncomfortable? And if you haven't been extremely uncomfortable, well, now is your chance to get extremely uncomfortable. And I really want you guys to just try it out. And I really think you'd be better off for it. Okay. That's it. I want to get right into this episode. Again, this is Shay giving her ayahuasca ceremony story. We're going to backtrack a little bit about mine and bring it all full circle. So enjoy. All right, Shannon.
Welcome back.
Welcome back for you. How's your break been from the show?
Been great.
Yeah? What have you been doing?
Golfing.
Oh, what else?
Just kidding.
Yeah, it's been a little while. We had a good run there, 3 weeks in a row. And here you are.
That's it? 3 weeks?
You were on for 3 weeks, yeah.
Oh, I was on for 3 weeks. I thought you said I had a break for 3 weeks.
Oh, no. And this week, this is a heavily requested episode. People want to know your experience with
my experience. I
ayahuasca.
actually had an experience.
Yeah, you had a ceremony. At least someone did. And I mean, I did, and I know I got so much love and support from the community and even people who I don't even think are subscribed or follow the show. A lot of love, a lot of encouragement. So I can't say I didn't have a ceremony, but you had a different one.
I sure did. I went to all the places.
You had a couple of different dimensions, huh?
Yeah.
So I guess I'll ask you a couple of questions just to get you more comfortable since you've been on a hiatus here. Were you excited to do ayahuasca?
I was excited. I was nervous. I wanted to get the most out of it. So I think that's what made me a little nervous that I wouldn't, especially when we got there and they were telling stories of how, not everyone has a ceremony their first time. And I'm thinking, I'm not about to do all this and not experience anything. So they also said you want not to hold back and you want to, throw up or cry and all of that. And I'm like, ooh, like for once in my life, I never thought I would say this, but I'm like, I hope I throw up.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember when we were driving there, we had some conversations about like what we expected and what we hoped for. And I went over that in my version of this episode, or this topic rather of the episode. All right. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Walk us through the Portuguese lover
Lovers experience.
Thank you.
Another thing is I was really excited for you more so than myself, and excited for myself because I'm like thinking that this experience is going to bring out a whole nother husband and person, and
kind of did.
Yeah.
One part did, yeah.
But I think we both kind of thought like it was going to be a one and done, like magic pill.
For sure. Solve all my problems. How many I got to drink? No
He's
problem.
Like, I'm going to be richer after this. I'm going to be more.
All the above.
But going into it, I was a little nervous. It's like the fear of the unknown. You don't really know what's going to happen or what to expect. And I feel like he's like really paying attention to me.
If you guys are watching, Playa Man is very excited.
He's my biggest fan. He's like,
oh yeah,
stares at me.
For all the listeners out there, Chicago's just stargazing into Shay's eyes as she tells this story.
So, when we had our first dose, can I go right into that part?
Sure, yeah, sure.
So when we had our first dose, we're sitting there. I'm thinking stuff is going to happen like instantly. Nothing. And then I feel like 30 minutes went by. I'm like still waiting, nothing. And I'm like, I don't think this is working. He kind of goes around towards probably like the last part of the hour and is asking everyone how we feel. And I'm like, I don't feel anything. Actually, I lied. I said, I feel it a little bit because I felt bad to say I didn't feel anything. I was like, yeah, a little bit. I'm like,
I think when he came by to me, I was like, I can give you like 5%. That's all I got right now.
Like I wanted to give him something. So I like, part of me was like, maybe I'm starting to feel something, because I did go into a place where I was really seeing my mom and my brother. And that was the first time. So I was like, I guess if that's what it is, like I'm feeling something, but it wasn't to the extreme of what everyone had ever described about it. So I'm like, no to that part, but yes to something. And so then he's like, just wait, and we trust him, and we were waiting, and then still nothing. And then I think he went around asking if we wanted another dose, and I was like, yeah, if I'm here, I'm gonna do it. So got another dose. Did you describe how you go up and you sit down? You're basically you almost kneel in front of him.
I don't think so.
No?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So there's a circle of us, and there was about how many?
I think 9, including the shaman.
9, including the shaman, and then his assistant, right?
Yeah.
And when you go up for your dose, he passes out these little shot glasses to everyone. So you have an empty shot glass, and then he kind of goes around the room, and everyone one by one goes up, and you almost like kneel in front of him, and and he blesses the shot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then
the medicine. Yeah.
You say, what did we say back to him?
I think he just said like salute. Like cheers.
And then and then you take it in front of him, and then you get up and you leave, and then the next person comes and does the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So after that second dose.
Wait, really quick. Were you, if no one else got up to do the second dose, I think you were like the second to last to take it. Would you have taken it?
Yeah, I was still, because I wasn't feeling anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I remember you were kind of looking at me.
But I was looking at you. I was like looking at you to lead and guide. Yeah. Like in that part.
I like shot up.
Because I think if you wouldn't have, I don't know that I would have.
Yeah. But I shot up. I was like, fill me up. I'm ready. You only live once. Come on, Vic.
Yeah. I remember also looking at you the first shot, and I'm like needing to see your reaction on the taste of it.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were going to say you looked at me like 30 minutes into the first shot. Like, are you good? You feel anything? And I looked at you like, there's nothing happening right now. And you're like, me too.
And mind you, we're two people that don't do done any kind of drugs. So I'm like thinking this is about to hit me.
It's going to take us out.
It's going to take me out. Like this little body. But so the second dose, so when I looked at you for even the taste of it, it was basically, it tasted exactly what everyone described, which was like molasses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Not terrible, not as bad as I put in my imagination for it to be, but it was not good either. Mm-hmm. So my second dose, I sit back down, and probably within, I would say, if I can remember correctly, about 20 minutes in, I started getting like really hot. And
into the second dose.
Yeah. And I was like, oh shit. And then I started seeing like the world kind of like change in a way.
Ooh. What do you mean?
Yeah.
What does that look like?
Where I just felt like I was starting to just feel myself go into just another place, I guess, what people feel when they do stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Not to a degree where I was seeing like flying snakes or anything yet. Flying
snakes. I've never heard that before.
Or just like something so random. I'm like,
I'm going to title this episode Ayahuasca Part 2, Shay sees flying snakes. If you haven't liked this video yet, please give us a like for flying snakes.
So, and then I think, I'm trying to remember exactly. Stop, you're throwing me off.
Flying snakes.
Didn't they say that some people see stuff like that?
I'd never heard of that.
So I started to just feel myself go into like just a really like almost like how you start to feel when you're getting really tipsy feeling.
I have no idea what that is either.
You were tipsy in Cabo.
I mean, I guess, yeah.
Or for you, that was probably just you were relaxed.
I was chilled out. I was feeling good, living better. Not a care in the world.
He has a hard time relaxing, so I feel like that was like one of my favorite days with him because he wasn't yet tipsy, but he was just relaxed. You should drink like every day. That would be amazing.
Great. Flying snakes / I wish my husband was an alcoholic. That's the title of this episode.
Okay. Center back. So I wasn't seeing flying snakes, but I was starting to feel like something was happening in my body. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how long after that is when he started to play the music. And that is when it really like sent me to a different place. this is where I tell everybody, like, I literally went to so many different dimensions of myself. I saw myself dancing in a white dress under like the sun.
Wow.
I told you this part, and I felt like I was on, but I wasn't her. I was watching her through, like, I was like on a darker side of the wall, and in like the wall in between, there was light kind of beaming through, but I was on the darker side. And I remember thinking, like, how do I get to that side? Like, I need to get to her, you know, I want to be where she is.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like the more I thought about that, I thought that was like, I don't know if it was maybe just me feeling like right now in general with everything that has been going on in the world, like we're just in this dark place, and I just miss being like so free, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so that was one thing. And then anytime the music changed, like I would get sent somewhere else. Like there was even one point, and sometimes it wasn't a comfortable space to be in, and sometimes it was. Sometimes I felt my body temperature was like a decent temperature where I was able to relax. And when I finally felt like I was able to relax, he would start to play the music to the point where I was like, no, because I didn't know where it was going to send me.
Right.
And it would send me sometimes to a place where I'm like freezing cold or really hot. And yeah, but you just really see, I just saw so many different dimensions. I even just trying to remember, like there was a part where it felt amazing. Like I literally could, when he was playing the music, I was seeing the sound drop from the instrument. And I remember I was like, I felt like the sound was just raining on me. And then there was flying snakes.
Right.
Just kidding.
Wow.
But I literally could see like each note being dropped from like the instrument or just from the sky, and it was just falling, and I was like, wow, this is so beautiful.
Do you remember how long you watched yourself in the white dress? You saw the dropping notes, like,
I mean, it probably seems longer than what it is, just like when you have dreams and you wake up and you were asleep for 20 minutes and you had like a whole life dream.
Yeah.
But the sound that was probably the most beautiful part, where I was just like, wow, I literally felt like the sound was like raindrops.
Yeah.
It sounds crazy and very healing.
Mm-hmm.
And I just saw every note being dropped, and I'm like, wow, music is so beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I guess have you thought about any of that? Like, have you explored?
Yeah, I mean, I even started to think about, like, there was one part where I saw, like, just the zoom out of who I am. And it was, like, so zoomed out that it just it gave me this whole, like, different perspective of just life. Like we literally are, and I think also entering all the dimensions that I was sent to, I'm like, we're so small compared to all of what is around. Like there is music in plants. There is like if you just zoom all the way in, there's so much life to every single thing. And if you zoom all the way out, we're just so small.
Yeah.
We're specks in this life. And I felt that a part of me was like thinking, I'm like, if we're just specks in this life and you zoom all out and nothing matters, and like your appearance doesn't matter, your status doesn't matter, nothing matters. The only thing that matters is if you're a light in this world, because when you zoom all the way out, are you going to be something that fades into the darkness, or are you going to be something that lights up the sky?
So while you were on this journey, did you feel like you were shining bright? You were dim?
Yeah, I felt like I definitely have a light.
Mm-hmm.
But it just made me think like there's a lot of things that we worry about in life, and a lot of that stuff just doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Yeah. As I sit here, very envious of your ceremony, and I wish I had half of that. Anything else kind of come to mind?
I think there was a few things that I had went through as a young child that I was afraid were going to come up.
What was the thing that came up?
I thought you were going to say something because you adjusted your mic, so I was waiting.
Mm-hmm.
There was something that came up that that didn't even cross my mind. And it was when I was in junior high, I was bullied. I was actually jumped at knife point. I think I was probably about 12 years old. And I actually just recently or my mom just recently told me that there was other occasions of stuff happening to me when I was little. And I think part of me just kind of blacked a lot of it out. And I also didn't know that she was really trying to get me out of the school district, and they wouldn't process the request to get me out of that school district. And my uncle, who worked a lot with the city and stuff, he told my mom, like, go into the principal's office, tell him that you're going to hit record, and then ask for the request. And she did exactly that. And that's when they finally processed the request and moved me out of the school district. So the area that I grew up in was just very heavily kind of gang related. And wasn't the best school district that I was in. And I was a target. And that came up, and I don't even think about it. And it's crazy. And I think a lot of my dismissiveness towards it comes from just feeling like, I mean, what's the big deal? You know, every girl or every person kind of has like experienced that, or it's not, I just didn't feel like it was that big of a deal. And when I really think about it, and I think about just even Adriana and her possibly going through something like that at 12 years old, I just can't even imagine her. She's 14 now, and I can't imagine that happening to her.
Yeah.
So putting that perspective on it just really, like, I don't know why I brushed that under the rug so much. I think I was just trying to move on from it. But I didn't even think about that going into that, like thinking, oh, I wonder if that's going to come up. It was just like, it came up.
How did it come up?
I don't really remember exactly. I just remember I can't even remember how it came up, to be honest.
Did you see the incident happening? Did you see some
I
of the
think I
girls?
just, not so much that. It was more the feeling behind the incident, how traumatic it was for me, and how, like, I guess, how much I just didn't even realize how traumatic it was, because I've, just kind of blocked it out.
And even, when it was happening or right after, in the weeks or months to follow, because you said you were 12. I mean, you're 12 years old. You don't know what trauma is.
Yeah.
You don't have the tools now that you do at, 30 something years old to be able to process, like, wow, this is a big deal. Maybe I should talk to someone about this. Maybe right? You're just like, this sucks. It happens. I pray it doesn't happen again. And that's kind of it.
Yeah. And I think it's because where I grew up, it happened to a lot of people. Yeah. So I didn't.
It's normal.
Yeah. It was pretty normal. But, I mean, to get jumped at knife point, to be left on the ground, to have your jaw dislocated and have to walk home after that. I mean, there was a neighbor that came out, and she was like, oh my gosh, are you okay? And I'm like, why didn't you come out sooner? Yeah. I was walking with a friend, and she took off.
Yeah. So,
and yeah, I mean, when it happened, it was probably a group of 10 girls, and the majority of the girls were in high school. So I'm 12 years old. And I don't know if it was like a gang jump in or something, because I remember the older girl was like, she was basically telling her younger sister to fight me. And then she told me if I try to fight back, that they're going to use this. And it was like a knife like this.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So that came up.
Yeah, I remember. I don't actually remember this coming up in your ceremony when we kind of talked everything through, but I do remember Easter, we were with your mom, and we were talking about this kind of stuff, and I didn't know. I knew it was really bad. I guess I never heard your mom's side of it, and as a parent, I'm like, what were you what were you going through? Because I could, like me, I would kill everybody. Like legit, I would. I mean, I would tell you, honey, just so you know, this is what I'm going to do. There's nothing you can do to stop me. Just get the bail money ready, because I'm going to get locked up, but I'm going to kill everybody.
Yeah.
If someone ever did something, I don't even know what I would black out and just go dark. and it would be really bad for anyone. And I would kill their parents too. I mean, it would just be really bad.
That was actually the first time hearing my mom give her side. I don't think I've ever had. That's how much I like shoved it under and blocked it out. Is I never had an adult conversation with my mom about it.
Yeah.
Like I had no idea my mom was requesting to get me transferred out for months. I had no idea of all of that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. That came up in a way for you.
And then when I finally got transferred out and I went to my new school, I'm like, I showed up with like baggy sweatpants, a hooded sweatshirt. Like I did not want to be noticed in any kind of way whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. So for you, it you know, coming up in your ceremony was, as the medicine is really good at doing, is bringing up things that, you know, are traumatic or things that are been shoved under the rug or blocked out from your memory. It's like, no, they're still here and we still got to work through this. Anything else that kind of came up that maybe you blocked out or was very significant?
No, but I do actually remember having this conversation with you because you brought up a good point when I told you about it. And you said, I wonder if that's why you don't like to be like center of attention.
I think that was just from the talk with your mom. I don't think I don't remember the ceremony.
It was actually right after when we were talking about ayahuasca and our experience after. And you said that, and I was like, that's actually really interesting because I do remember when later I went to high school, my freshman year, I somehow get nominated for freshman princess. And I didn't go to school for a whole week because I was terrified to win because I was like, I don't want that kind of spotlight on me where girls are going to hate me. And then, you know, I'm repeating that vicious cycle.
It is coming up now. I do remember having a somewhat of a conversation saying, you know, maybe that's why it is hard for you to be on camera or, you know, I know you would hate a surprise party. Anything that puts the spotlight on you, you're very like, please don't, no. So anything else from your ceremony?
I think the rest is just have to do with you.
Was there anything you said you were able to step outside yourself? Because that was something I was really hoping to get. And my intention and reason for that was hoping I could step outside of myself, see myself for who I actually am, maybe not who I think I am, and then hopefully gain some guidance or some type of direction of like, look, you're going down the wrong path or you're almost there or whatever, come this way, let us show you. I was really hoping for that. Did you get anything similar by you being able to have that literally out-of-body experience?
I mean, the only out-of-body was when I saw myself on another side of the wall. And I was like, I need to get to her. So I'm like, I don't know if that's like the disconnect I'm just having with the world right now and just feeling like we're in a dark place and we need to get back to that, you know, free, you know, all of that. But,
yeah. Okay. So let's get into, I guess then, as I talked about in the first episode, the moment that we shared and how it was, I think very different for both of us in a lot of ways, but then very good. And we're on the same page in a lot of ways. For me, again, I'll just reiterate that I felt this tug on my toe from you, and you kind of looked at me, and I took that as a cue to, you need me, number one, and number two, I need to go to you to help you in any kind of way. And when I crawled or scooted or however the hell I got to you, you kind of like collapsed in my arms. And, you know, you were crying, nothing crazy, not hysterically, just, you know, sobbing. And
just sobbing.
Yeah.
I think I just had tears just continue.
But it was
such a flow of tears.
It was such a quiet cry. I remember that, like very quiet, like a Tesla cry. You know what I mean? Like it was so silent. Yeah. And I just remember thinking like, number one, okay, well, I'm not having a ceremony really, so at least I have a job to do right now. You know, at least I can be of use. And if anyone, you know, to you, which is great.
Yeah.
And then two, for me, and more of a personal note into our relationship, you know, I know that that's been something that's been a little bit of a void, and for you, and also a want, you know, for me to be that person for you that you can lean on. You can.
What do you mean a void for me?
something that you're craving from me. You know, there's a void there that you have, that we have, that it's more in you than me, because I'm not the affectionate person. And if I am, you provide that for me, but you are the affectionate person, and oftentimes I don't provide it for you.
Yeah.
So me showing up in that way, I had enough consciousness, you know, whether I was on this journey or not, or what level I was influenced, I had enough consciousness to know, like, oh, I'm doing what she's always been asking me to do. Like, yes. Like, I was so relieved.
Yeah.
And I think one of the main reasons why I was relieved is because I'm like, I'm capable of doing it. You know, I've wanted to do it. I knew I was capable. I just didn't know how to do it. And for me, I have this like go big or go home mentality. And there's probably so many little things that I could have been doing over the last 5 years with you that I probably could have built up that, you know, tolerance for you to be able to trust me and not had the void be as big as it was, maybe, you know? So yeah. So when I, you know, was holding you, I remember feeling really good about myself showing up. But what was your experience when I was well, I guess when we laid down?
Yeah, I mean, I'll take it back a little bit further, because I do remember checking in on you through, you know, just like looking at you. I do remember looking at you a few different times, like in between my entering and exiting of dimensions, and you were just so stiff, just laying there. And I remember when the shaman came around and he was like checking on us, and he checked on me, and I was like, yeah, I'm fine, but how is he doing? I was so worried about you, because I felt like you were just like zoned out but stiff. And whereas to me, I was in every position you can possibly think of. I was, you know, on my side. I was like crawled up in a ball. I was like, you know, all of that.
So was I.
Really, I saw you on your side and your back mostly.
Yeah. I mean, when I was by myself, I was definitely moving around a lot because I was so uncomfortable physically, and because the medicine was kicking in. But when I was with you, I was very still because I didn't want to move too much to throw you off.
Yeah.
So I was like, I need to be as still as possible. Let her have her ceremony. I'm just going to hold her. So that's why I was stiff accordingly.
So I think I was checking on you a few times. And then when I did the toe pull, whatever, that's when you were on your back, and I was just, it was more, I was like, are you okay? And then you came over, and I felt really connected with you in that time. And in fact, like, I think people that actually, the girl that was next to me after the ceremony, she's like, wow, I watched you guys have such a beautiful love. Like, and I did feel in that moment, I felt like as out of our minds we still found our way to each other. Yeah. And we had that very special moment together. But also, like, during that, because I was in a place where I was so relaxed, I was going through hot and cold body temperature. So 1 minute I was freezing, and then the next minute I was super hot, and I felt like you were just stiff, you know? And I remember like poking on your like chest, like, are you like alive? Like, are you there? Like, you know, or is there like, what's like, are you like, there was just no emotion. It was just like just I felt like you were an armor.
It's interesting you said armor, because I really felt in that moment like I had to protect you and us. Yeah. Like I said in my episode of this was, I felt like caveman days.
You felt like caveman days. Like it felt like you were just an armor and that was it. But you know in the movies where the armor people, it's like people will go up to them like, is there anybody in there? Like trying to get them to laugh or like, and they're just like,
yeah. But I was so on alert.
Yeah.
You know, because I was like, even Victor, I was like, bro, take one more step closer. It's a wrap for you. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then I remember having to check myself, like, chill, like it's Vic, you know? And I was like, why am I so, and here, you know what? Like, I'm just having this thought now. I didn't have it back then. I wonder because for the first time in my life, I've never been more threatened by this, the threat was the medicine.
Yeah.
And I'm doing everything in my power to fight it. Again, I won, unfortunately, against the medicine. And maybe my subconscious was like, okay, like, because it was still heightened. If anyone comes near us, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I definitely felt like I need to protect you at all costs, me at all us. It was just like strange.
Yeah, I definitely felt that. I felt like you were an armor, and I wanted to take the armor off of you and be with the person that's underneath the armor.
Yeah. Yeah, you and me both.
It's crazy because I do feel that what I was hoping out of that, and I think obviously there's layers to it, and you definitely need to do it again and stuff, but I'll say one thing. Someone said before we started that usually they don't recommend doing something like that with your significant other, because what could happen is you don't end up surrendering because you're so worried about that person. So you feel like you need to be the sober one, the one that can still be somewhat coherent to the surroundings.
Yeah. Yeah. And someone else, I think it was another shaman I talked to, when I was giving him this story about how I came over to you and I was there for you. I think he was the one who said, I think that was your ego and your control playing tricks on you to say, oh, look, hey, look what's over there. Look what's shiny, an object over there. Go look, like a distraction. You know what I mean? A distraction from the medicine, really trying to work again. Because I remember when I got to you, even when Victor was chanting, I was not moving. I wasn't going anywhere, no other dimensions. And I'm actually surprised when I went back to my area after, I don't know how long I was with you, probably about 45 minutes. In real time, I still had a vision of my younger self. Like, I'm surprised I even had that. Yeah. Because I really felt like...
You kind of snapped out of it.
Yeah, I was like, let's go home. I'm tired. It's late.
I'm uncomfortable.
I tried. Yeah, let's just get some sleep. So,
Yeah.
So would you do it again?
Yeah, I would do it again.
Yeah, as I said in my episode, I'm definitely going to do it again and by myself. I'm excited. I think I was actually going to do it. No one knows this, but I had put down a deposit for the April 15th ceremony, and April 15th is a very special date in my life. If anyone is here from Enjoy, I did a story time where I talked about the exorcism that I witnessed. And if you're only who can relate, I talked about it briefly with Adriana when I had the episode of, I think I titled it, Getting to Know My Teenage Daughter. And so I witnessed this exorcism in 2007, and it was on April 15th. So ironically, if I would have went through with the ayahuasca round 2, it would have been on April 15th, 15 years later. And it was Passover Day. It would have been like
so many connections.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm seeing this healer right now, and she recommended, she's from Peru. She's also done ayahuasca a lot, and she recommended I don't do round 2 right now, and that I try to do a heart opener ceremony first before the round 2 of ayahuasca. But my round 2 so far is scheduled for the end of June.
Nice.
So yeah,
I'm excited for that.
So overall, what would you say your takeaways were?
I think my takeaway with you was definitely, I feel like it was more validating that there's a part of you that I still have yet to connect with. And in fact, there's a part of you that you still have yet to connect with. So it's not anything personal for me. It's just, I think that there's layers that you yourself have to get to for yourself.
Yeah.
And I've said this so many times before, once you're able to get to those layers, I feel like there's so many things around you that are just going to like take off.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah. But for you.
For me.
Yeah.
My takeaway for myself, I think obviously it was like that trauma. I refelt that trauma, and I was faced to acknowledge it in the ways that I've never acknowledged it before. And I don't know what else. I think that's why I'm excited to do another one, to kind of see, like, now that I've peeled back that layer, what more can I peel back, and what more can I dive into to just be a better version of myself.
Yeah. And if and when we can do a heart opener, everyone recommends that we do it together.
Yeah.
You know, they say the heart opener is, I think, like 7 to 10 years of therapy sessions in one ceremony of the heart opener. So that would be great. And yeah,
I'll do anything with you, babe.
You won't move to Texas, but it's another story for another day. Yeah, well, I'm glad we did it. I'm glad you had a ceremony. I'm glad you were able to see some things that you needed to, that maybe you thought were good. I'm excited for your round 2 and what comes of it from your ceremony. I'm excited to do the heart opener with you. And yeah.
Oh, there was a big part I didn't mention. So I threw up.
Right.
And I do have to talk about that for 2 seconds, because going into it, my intention was to throw up. Like, I remember when they were saying, you know, some people don't have a ceremony, they don't throw up. And then they're like, you want to throw up. And my friend who referred us to the shaman was like, you want to throw up.
Yeah.
So I went in there thinking, like, I want to throw up. Like, I hope I throw up. I hope I have that experience, because that's where you purge, like, whatever it is that you're holding inside of you. And there was a lot of time, and very, very early on after the second dose, where I started to feel the urge to throw up, and I stopped myself. I held it back, and I'm like, no. All of a sudden, I did not want to throw up, and I'm like, no, no, no. And it kept coming up, and I kept ignoring it. And there was a point where I'm like, I should probably grab the bucket. And I went to turn around to grab the bucket, and then I stopped from grabbing the bucket, because I felt like that was going to be my surrendering. And I'm like, no, if I grab the bucket, that means I'm accepting to throw up, and I don't want to throw up yet. But I wanted to have the bucket there just in case I just came out.
Yeah.
And so there was a couple times I looked at the bucket and I didn't get it. And then there was one time where I, like, halfway went to grab it, and I was like, no. And I stopped. And then finally I'm like, I'm just going to surrender. It kept coming up so much. And then I just, you know, put my head over the bucket, and it literally, the bucket then turned into this well. And I was just, what I thought I was throwing up was like literally like a gallon of something. And when, you know, we kind of came out of the dimensions and into reality, it was like so little.
Yeah.
But I was like literally in this well, just like,
yeah.
And it's a different kind of throw up, by the way. It's like literally like water. It feels like a river's coming out of your mouth. And I thought I was in this big well, and this never ending, I couldn't even see the ground of it. And it's just like so much coming out of me, and it wasn't that much. So that was kind of interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. And also too, for everyone, like, you know, we had a very specific diet before we went into it. I think 3 days before, or 5 days before, something like that.
3.
Yeah. You know, this is with a trusted source. It was a trusted shaman who had been doing it for 30 plus years. A lot of people are like, you got to be careful. It's like, I know, we crossed our T's, dotted our I's. If this ain't for you, then don't do it. But yeah. And so I bring all that up because the purging part, like, if people are like, oh, like, you probably threw up the last meal, it was just like, no,
there was like no food in it at all. It was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different kind of throw up for sure.
I know. And I really quick too about the vomit thing. I remember, before we started, I grabbed 2 buckets, right? Cause I was like, oh, I'm going to get it all out tonight.
I remember you saying that.
Cause the buckets are so small. I was like, oh, I'm going to fill this one up. No problem. And actually there was a girl there who I think had 4 buckets.
Literally, I felt like she was not stopping.
Yeah. The shaman, in fact, told her, like, stop drinking water. Otherwise you won't stop purging. So, yeah, I think too, like, if I can, I would like to do it for the 3 days in a row.
Mm.
Because, you know, as I said in my video, everyone else who was there aside from us, that was their 3rd day.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't even imagine, like, what came of that, you know?
And one of the girls says that she didn't have really an experience on day 1 or day 2. And then day 3, she just, like, lost it.
Yeah.
And she's like, wow, I needed to release all of that. And I had no idea I had so much to release.
Was that the girl who had 4 buckets?
No, it was the one next to you that was hysterically crying.
Yeah, that's right.
The whole time, yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So, all right. Well, there you have it.
Yeah.
Portuguese lover, her version of her ceremony for ayahuasca. We'll keep you posted for any more ceremonies that we have coming up. And yeah, actually, I have a favor to ask everybody. What is he doing? I'm out of topics to talk about with you. So if anyone has a topic that you would like to hear me and Shay go over, feel free to leave it in the comments, or if you're listening, write a review on Apple Podcast or DM me. That works too.
Otherwise, the show might turn into stuff about golf soon.
Not a bad idea. I would love nothing more. Listen, if Who Can Relate was about golf, they would get 5 episodes a week. No problem. If I was getting paid to golf, oh my God. Anyways, all right. Well, that's it. Chicago's had it. He's had it like 25 minutes ago.
It's his playtime.
Yeah, we gotta get out of here. So, honey, love you. Thank you for coming on.
Do you love me more than golf?
I told you about that. Don't ask questions you're afraid to get the answer to. If you're
see how you are, get you a husband that loves you more than golf.
Yes. If you're on YouTube, please like, subscribe, share this. If you or anyone that you know is contemplating doing ayahuasca. If you're on Apple Podcasts, please leave a review and a rating. If you're on Spotify, just keep on listening because that's all we can do. So, honey,
he wants to say goodbye.
Play, man.
He wants to close out the episode.
Come here, Play. Play is mad.
Are you singing?
Oh.
Ooh,
Play is mad.